Yo, what's good, everybody? Y'all been spending my IG at Cash Nasty. The NBA's new basketballs have a huge problem. What?
Revealed this brand new basketball that they're working.
Oh, by the way, y'all, listen. I literally touched the exact same basketball LeBron was shooting with when I went to the Memphis game, bro. Bro, their balls are huge, y'all. These balls, they feel overinflated, bro. The NBA basketballs is crazy, bro. I hate shooting with them, bro. It seems so much heavier and just so much girth. No homo sapien.
On, and it is actually super cool, and there's so many things I like about it. However, there are some problems with it. For example, a lot of people have been asking what happens if you play basketball outside and you get some rocks inside the basketball. How are you going to get them out? And is the wind going to affect this ball differently versus a regular ball? Is this going to mess up your shot completely? And of course, people want to know, how much is it going to cost? When is it coming out? And is the NBA actually going to use this as the official NBA game ball? All these questions we're going to cover right now. The NBA transitioned in 2021 from Spalding basketballs to Wilson, and Wilson has been working on this brand new basketball called the airless basketball prototype. They've actually been working on this ball for the last 5 years. And this is just a prototype right now, but it is going to be coming out soon. Quote, "We're hoping to put out a release at some point. I'd say in the next 12 months would be great, but we'll see how it goes with a short run so that more people can get their hands on the ball and tell us what they really like and hate about it." So we could be getting this ball in our hands in about a year, and we know that they're getting close because they brought the prototype out during the 2023 Slam Dunk Contest, where Kenyon Martin Jr. used this ball to throw down one of his dunks. And this was the first time the world got to see this ball, and shortly after, Wilson posted some videos about the ball explaining how they're made, and it's actually super interesting. Now, the way they're actually able to make this basketball,
I did not know, bro. What? An airless basketball?
Is with 3D printing. Now, Wilson said that they tried different 3D printing methods, and the only one that would really work in order to make this feel like an actual basketball and allow it to bounce and be durable is to use what they call SLS, which is selective laser sintering. SLS is not your typical at-home 3D printer, so these things are super expensive, so sadly you won't be able to just use your typical 3D printer at your own home. Now, the way these laser printers work are actually pretty strange. It's basically got a powder bed, and then a laser then sketches into this powdered bed to print this ball, and then you grab the ball from the powder, you shake out all of the powder, and you're left with a solid 3D printed ball. They then have a process to seal the powder, and the next step is to dye these balls. Right now they are dyeing them black, but I could imagine in the future that you could do any color, and it would be cool for them to make them orange, you know, a little bit like the normal basketball we're used to using, and this would be a lot easier to see if you're playing outside at nighttime versus a black basketball. Now, after this step, they send their ball to the NBA testing facility in Ohio, and there they are put through, in her words, testing facility.
It's not ready.
In Ohio.
Ooh, I seen that flatness.
And there they are put through.
Ooh, y'all seen that? Yeah. Hey, I ain't all person seen this right here, huh? Y'all see that? Ooh, it's like the ball got a titty in it. You know what I'm talking about? You ever had like a ball, like when it bounces on the titty on the ball, and it kind of like we make it go down, up, it goes to the left or right.
In her
bad marketing right here, dog.
Facility in Ohio, and there they are put through.
Let me cringe right there.
In her words,
rigorous testing.
After that, you have a 3D printed basketball that never needs to be inflated or deflated. It bounces the same way a normal basketball does, and it's the same exact weight and size. It really is just different. I mean, it's got holes in it, and so there's no actual air that you are pumping inside of this ball, and this is where some of the problems and concerns start to come up. Now, in my previous video on futuristic NBA tech, a lot of people commented about these problems, and honestly, it kind of comes down to 4 different types of problems. And before we get to the first one, if you guys could subscribe to the channel, that would mean the world to me. But enough of that, let's get into problem number 1, which are the holes. The main problem is that you have—
I actually like the holes. And the reason is because, like, I feel like when I get the ball, I'm the type of person, bro, when I shoot my best, I like to feel like this area right here rests on my fingertips. So with the hose, I can kind of like help that with the grip, because you know I don't have the softest touch because I lift weights. So it's like I kind of like need that support right here. This is when I hit most of my shots. You know, when I'm from top of the key, when I feel it, this like other than a catch and shoot, I get catch and shoot and I gotta shoot quickly. If I can't put my hand in the groove, it kind of like the chance of me making it goes down significantly. It's me as a shooter, y'all. I just know.
The possibility of getting little rocks or debris inside of the basketball when you're playing outside. Now, I can imagine this would be so annoying. There needs to be a way for you to be able to
yes,
rocks and debris that get into the basketball. Now, typically,
especially outside
rocks or debris on the basketball court, but I still see this could be an issue for people who are playing outside, especially if you're just playing in the neighborhood outside of the house. Now, the second problem people have with this ball is shooting and making sure that this isn't going to mess up your shot and that it's really going to act like a normal basketball when you shoot it. Now, the reason this could mess up your shot is because of the holes in it, and it's going to have a different effect on the airflow, and specifically with the Magnus effect. In simple terms, what this means is when you shoot a basketball, if you cause a lot of backspin
top of the key,
ball,
hey, that's how. Hey, when I'm hot top of the key, y'all, this is how the basketball look to me, y'all. All right, I'm telling y'all, man. All right, I've been practicing in lab, man. Just when I shooting at this, all I see just openness. You know, and I see just wet like water.
it is going to make it curve in the air. This is the same thing that makes a boomerang curve when it is spinning. And for a basketball, this same effect can happen. Of course, it's going to be way less dramatic though than a boomerang. And with these new basketballs, there's a lot more airflow that is actually going through the basketball, and it could affect this slightly, which makes us wonder if this is going to affect our shots, if it is going to act a little bit differently.
Yeah, and especially when it rains too, you know what I mean? Could that leather do help? You know, whenever it just got done raining, you know, still a little moisture outside, or you know, the outside condensation. Like, how's that like going to help with the ball, or is it going to make the ball more heavier? You feel come from? I see the like
than a normal ball. Now, I don't have any real data or science to back this up, but it's something to think about and something we are going to experiment with when we get our hands on this ball. A lot of people have been comparing this ball to a wiffle ball, which we know wiffle balls you can curve like crazy versus a regular baseball. Now, the thing is, this basketball isn't super lightweight like a normal wiffle ball is. This basketball is the same exact weight of a normal basketball. And I think because of this, we're actually going to have a basketball that I think might perform better outside in windy conditions than your normal basketball. We all know what it's like to shoot outside on a windy day. It is absolutely the worst, but because this basketball does allow airflow to go through it, I wonder if this basketball is not going to move as much in light winds when shooting. And if that actually is the case, this could be the perfect outdoor basketball to play with. Now, the third problem that people were talking about is the bounce. People are wondering if it's going to bounce the same as a normal basketball, and Wilson has confirmed that it does. Wilson said that they tested it at all different angles to make sure that it bounces the same, whether it is bouncing on where the holes are or where the grooves are. But something we're not going to know for a while is if these basketballs are going to lose their bounce over time. One thing I'll say though is when you listen to the bouncing sounds of this basketball in the video, it does sound really weird. I don't know about you, but I just love the sound of a normal basketball, and this is something I'll need to get used to. Now, the fourth problem that people have with this ball is the actual feel of it. People are wondering if it's going to have a good grip, and are the holes and grooves actually a better grip maybe than a normal basketball? We're also curious how it's going to handle sweat, and hopefully it doesn't get super slippery when you get some sweat on the ball, because as you know, this happens in a basketball game. Truthfully, all these things we're not really going to know until we get our hands on it, and you're wondering, when does this ball actually come out? Now, I did some research because I was super curious about when it was going to come out. I was also curious if the NBA is actually going to use these and if other sports are going to adapt this same technology, and I found some really surprising answers. As far as implementing this technology into other sports for other sports balls, someone actually asked Dr. Lipa, who is the creator of this basketball, if they are going to be using this same technology for balls in other sports such as soccer or tennis, and she said this, quote, "I think there's a possibility of that. that, it's just a matter of seeing how the technology develops.
Why y'all
Now, of course,
starting with
this is
basketball
100%
though, man?
going to
Y'all get
depend
over that
on
baseball
the sport.
first, man.
For example, tennis might work, but maybe baseball doesn't work because the impact of the bats are more impactful than the tennis racket. I think it makes a lot of sense to make a football out of this same technology. I think that would be sick. Now, as far as the price goes, someone actually did a deep dive on how much it costs to make these basketballs with the SLS 3D printing, as well as how much they might be selling this ball for. And his guess is that the ball would be sold between $200 and $270.
Hell no! Keep that ball.
$70 US. Ouch. Now the official Wilson game ball you can pick up for $200, and if this ball is going to be more expensive than that, I don't know. I feel like this ball is going to be the perfect outdoor ball, so I would hope it would be way cheaper, not more expensive than the official NBA game ball. But it leads us to the question, could this be used in NBA games? Now the truth is, the basketball has changed over the years, and it's not uncommon for them to make these basketballs better over time. For example, the first ever basketball used were so different from the modern basketballs we have today. But nowadays, our basketballs are made from synthetic materials and are designed to be more durable and provide better grip and bounce than the original basketball. With all that being said, Dr. Lipa also spoke about the possibility of this ball being used in the NBA. Quote, eventually we would love to see the airless prototype ball used competitively in some capacity. However, we have no current plans to change the NBA game ball. So for now, we will have the same ball, but there might be a world where that could change. And what do you guys think about that? Let me know in the comments.
How y'all feel about this basketball, man? I'm scared of the sound and how it'll be with the rock. Bro, it's a lot of concern. I don't think we're ready for it yet, but especially that price point. You know, because I'm telling you right now, there's going to be a lot of people in the hoods going with their own 3D printer, replicating the exact same ball. Yeah.